Boaters, this is Pauly from All Docked Up. And never, ever do we have a podcast without my main man, Captain Buzz.
Hey, Captain Buzz here. How's everybody doing today? How you doing?
I am sweating my ass off. That's what I'm doing.
Come on.
Okay?
It's hot. No, you're right. It's hot out
It's
there.
hot outside. It's disgusting outside. Okay? I'll tell you what. I literally could have hanged myself by the extension cord of a buffer today.
Yikes.
Okay?
That's hot.
Oh, hot. Are you kidding me? My skin looks like a cherry tomato.
How can you spread wax and heat like that?
How do you spread wax like heat like this? You're not supposed to because it's entirely too hot.
Yeah.
But Pauly goes the extra mile and does the best he can for his customers.
And my man Pots and Pans.
My man Pots and Pans is right. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Because you look like you were a bit on the hot side when you walked in the door.
Yeah.
You looked a little PO'd.
Well, it's one of those days, but now we're doing our podcast. We had some great eats. Go ahead and explain what the hell for our Boater
tonight.
Bites.
For Boater Bites tonight, guys. Buzzy was in a bad mood earlier when I was chatting with him, so I felt that I had to, get a little baby powder on his ass, give him something good to eat. So I made a beautiful linguine pescatore, which is a seafood dish with shrimp and scallops, mussels and clams in a red marinara sauce loaded with garlic, crushed red flaked peppers over a bed of linguine. Son of a bitch, it was good.
Well, and it turned my mood around because it was delicious.
If a dish like that I make doesn't put a smile on your
then I got
face,
serious problems.
then I'll hit you over the head with a tack hammer because at the end of the day, I don't know what else to tell you. Okay? So I spoiled him with this incredible dinner with fresh sea scallops. Oh my God, it was good. Yeah, it was lovely.
It was.
But I did trash my shirt. I completely trashed my... Well, I got the belly and, sometimes, the marinara sauce.
Wait, this is a recording. They can't see you yet. Oh, we got to start doing video.
We're going to start doing video,
and
guys.
Then they're going to know.
Oh, and then they're going to know. I got a nice belly going on here. There's got to be $40,000 in this belly right about now. And all the food that I've been eating over the years. I had a love affair with chicken parmesan and pasta. And the Garico bread was always beautiful. So what are you going to do?
It happens. What are you going to do? It's all right.
All right. So here, everyone wants to know, what are we talking about tonight?
All right. Well, let me do my captain's briefing.
Oh, forgive me. Captain's briefing. Take one. My bad. What do you got?
My captain's briefing. So it's very simple. And it's to make sure that your Seacocks are open.
All right. When you're talking about Seacocks, what are we talking about, Buzz? Are we talking about Seacock for the air conditioner? Are we talking Seacock for your engines? What are we talking?
Well, good point.
Or what does a Seacock do? Some people may not know.
All right, let me back
What
up.
is a Seacock?
Let me back up. So I have inboards and I have an air conditioning system. And both of those systems use water.
Raw water from where you're boating.
Underneath the boat, right? So the engines suck raw water from the bay, in this case, to cool the engines. Now, I also have a closed coolant system with an approved coolant for a Cummins engine.
Sure.
That's closed. But then I also have a raw water cooler as well. That's
correct.
So that's got an impeller and that's running. So what you want to do is after you start your engines, is to look over the side of the boat and make sure that your impellers are flowing and there's a good
Make sure you're
flow.
pumping water.
Pumping water.
Right. Make sure you're pumping water. Check your gauges. Make sure you check your temperature gauges. And guys, another very, very good tip. You got to exercise your Seacocks. And what that means is
good point.
A lot of people, the majority of the time when people are winterizing boats, the Seacocks are left open throughout the course of the winter. So if you do have any moisture, that it's going to let itself out. But most people don't check them. And when you exercise your Seacock, that means open, close it.
Because they seize.
They seize. They get stiff. And sometimes you actually have to take the hose out with the seat. And the boat has to be pulled to do this because you have to physically take the hose off of the Seacock, use a penetrating liquid, exercise the Seacock to make sure that it's not frozen, because the ball valve inside gets tight, gets frozen.
That's a great point.
And that's when you're grabbing a Seacock and you snap the handle right off.
Oh, then you're in trouble.
Well,
That's a different story.
Did you happen to forget what happened to us in Portland, Maine?
How could I forget?
From those hammerheads at the marina, that what they did to that air conditioner, or the AC and heating Seacock for the...
Yeah, we had no heater as a result.
Yeah,
and
we
had no electricity to work a portable heater. But that's another story.
Yeah, don't even
That's
get me
story.
started.
So, bottom line, and those with an outboard, you want to turn around and make sure. Well, we call it. Make sure the engine's pissing, right? It's sucking water up from your lower unit, using it to cool the motor, and it's throwing it out, that stream of water. You want to make sure that is flowing before you get underway.
Right, and I'll tell you what, I have a very interesting story on that, where broker and a potential buyer went to go sea trial, a boat, and unfortunately the Seacocks were closed and they blew both engines.
So they didn't go over and look to see if water was flowing, number one, and they weren't watching gauges? That's very strange.
Well, what do we do? What do you do? When I get on board my boat, engine hatch is open right off of the bat.
Yeah.
I check the oil to make sure that we're 100%. I check the bilge to make sure that from the last previous run that there was nothing happened. There was no oil anywhere in the bilge. There was nothing that I can visibly see that could have been a problem.
Right.
Check your oil, check your bilge, make sure you're solid. I mean, make sure you don't have an over buildup of water in your bilge. Make sure your bilge pump didn't fail. Go ahead and make sure that you turn your blowers on. Wait 5 minutes with the blowers actively running before you to start your engines. Mm-hmm. And I don't care if you're diesel. I don't care if you're gas. You make sure that you run them for 5 minutes prior to starting, and then make sure your Seacocks are open. Check your gauges, your temp gauges, just to make sure that everything's copacetic. Let it idle for 10 minutes. Make sure the engine comes up to temperature. You don't have a problem, and then you can go ahead and start your trip and journey for the day.
Yeah, roger that. It's just a little bit of maybe a pause for your journey, but it's really important. Otherwise, you're going to get into big trouble.
I have customers of mine that went on. They loaded up all their gear for the course of the weekend, loaded up their coolers, went and fired that bad boy up. Started up their engines, went ahead and left, never took the time to check their oil, and blew a motor.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the trip that they took from, and they throw their hands up in the air and they go, wait a minute, I had the boat out last weekend and I didn't have a problem. No, you very well did have a problem. But if you would have opened up your engine hatch and you would have looked down, you would have noticed that you blew an oil line hose and your motor was dry and you seized the motor. Yeah. So just take the extra time. Listen, it's better to be safe than sorry. And a decent motor nowadays, a fuel-injected 350 mag MPI, is going to cost you $15,000+ to replace.
Yeah.
And that's not even including the labor and the haul out to get it done.
That's right.
So take the time, boaters, to really know what's going on. Take the extra steps. Keep safety involved. And you should be good to go. You shouldn't have a problem.
What's your detailer?
Well, my detailer's briefing for tonight. Yeah, I'm telling you, my brain is fried.
It's hot.
It's hot. It's killing me. I can't even retain fluids. I drank over 1.5 gallons of water today, and I only used the facilities once. Like literally, just sweated out all day.
You really think that the folks want to hear about your personal problems?
No, there's no personal problems there. I mean, come on now. Like everyone who's listening hasn't been in the same shoes. Come on now. Let's be honest over here. So detailer's briefing for today. What kind of detailing maintenance program do you have set for the course of the season for your boat to properly maintain the integrity or the outside, the shine to your fiberglass, your gel coat?
Right. Whether you do it yourself or you hire someone to do it, what's the frequency?
Yeah. What is your plan? What is your maintenance plan? And, is your boat getting washed a week? Are you washing it bi-weekly? Okay. How many times? Me personally, my boat gets fully detailed 3 times a year. And then, you're like, well, Pauly, you're in the business, so naturally that's going to happen.
Yeah,
there's a very specific reason why that happens. And make no mistake about it. It's not because I'm in the business, because I have a colored blue hull. And I have a boat that's 10+ years old. And the blue fades.
I'm gonna need a mid-season haul.
Right.
Give it a quick spin with the.
You're gonna have to pull it out. Right. I like to pull so the boat gets fully detailed before it goes in the water.
Of course.
Then the boat is washed once a week. But I'm also making sure that I'm using, a soap that's not going to strip my wax. And we spoke about this in previous podcasts. There are times that I do use roll-off and, because I have spider poop that's got to be taken off of the boat. So what's your maintenance program? How much love are you going to put into your girl? If you have a colored hull, and let's say you have a newer aged boat, you're not going to really see oxidation on the boat. But I promise you this much. If you have a blue colored hull from the rub rail down to the water line, and let's say your boat's 15 years old, when you start to lose that color and that boat starts to chalk, you let that go entirely too far. Wow. A lot of the times really it doesn't come back.
Yeah, and I was at a marina this past weekend and I see a black boat in particular, and it was chalked big time. And it was a new boat. I was like, wow, that looks bad.
Because to be honest with you, unfortunately, there are some manufacturers out there that do not have good gel coat. I mean, it's the harsh truth behind it. I've seen a couple of boats that I've worked on that were 3-4 years old that were colored, and the gel coat is completely wiped out.
So the bottom line is that you got to have some type of frequency for
strict
applying wax,
right,
and washing with a good quality, washing product that doesn't strip the wax. You may have to do a mid-season polish to maintain your vessel, to keep it looking great.
You know what? Listen, and this is going to flow into another very large, important topic that we're having tonight. But I yank my boat out in the middle of the season in July. The bottom gets pressure washed. If there's any buildup of any kind, yes. Barnacles. The barnacles have been pretty bad over the past couple of seasons. Yeah. Temperatures are high, solidity lines are up, barnacles are all over the bottom of the boat, outdrive, shafts, rudders, the whole 9 yards. So I like to pull it out in July, give it a good blast. And unfortunately, I really have to buff my blue hull again because it's starting to fade, and I don't want it to go too far.
No.
And then at the end of the season, which we've spoken about before, I like to put the boat away nice and clean, nice, freshly polished. Then I don't have any mold problems, and it really helps it out. So put together a maintenance program to really take care of your baby, take care of the boat the right way, and understand what you need to use.
So one of our topics tonight is trailering your boat.
Never was I a fan. Well, and I did it for a long time.
Yeah, I was too.
Not a fan.
Well, but for some folks it works perfectly.
Sure.
Right? And for my earlier boating career, it worked great. It was fantastic.
But the majority of boaters that physically get into the hobby,
they got to start somewhere.
They got to start somewhere. Listen, yeah. I trailered for a long time. But I'll tell you what, I had a 1975 galvanized Gator trailer, tandem axle, and every time I hit a bump, it sounded like the tires were going to fall off. But I had a boat, and I thought I was the greatest thing to slice bread.
Well, exactly. You're there. So let's talk about a couple of things to get your trailer ready to be on the road. And so first of all, you want to do a visual inspection, right? You want to walk around and make sure everything looks straight and proper. You want to make sure you plug in your lights into the back of the truck, or
right. Make sure you plug it into the receiver in the back of the truck.
Right, because you want to make sure that your directionals are working, your brake lights are working, your running lights, and your hazard lights.
And this goes for every single solitary time
you plug it in.
That the boat leaves your driveway, or you've dismounted your trailer and truck, whatever the case may be. When you hook that trailer up,
check it out.
Checklist. Put a checklist together.
Yeah. So, and then you want to make sure your tires are properly inflated and
not dry rotted.
And not dry. Good point. And I've got a story. I got a good story.
Oh, I know you do.
And you need a spare.
You've told me this story.
Okay. So, and now this was not a boat trailer. This was a small pop-up camper trailer. And my brother-in-law and I were on our way to Indianapolis for the Formula One race.
Okay.
Right? So we're pulling out of Jersey and we're heading down the Route 80 in Pennsylvania. And the tire blew. And when I say the tire blew, when we finally pulled over, the only thing left were the inner beads and the sidewalls. The entire tread was gone.
No, you don't say.
But because it was a dry rotted old tire, right? The problem was in a pop-up camper, and we're getting off of boating for a moment because it's a pretty good story. The fender well for a pop-up camper is inside a cabinet inside the trailer.
Yeah.
Right? So the tire blew out the interior of the fender wall, right? Around the tire.
Right, because the tire's going thump, up, 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 and
Right.
ripping everything apart in its path.
It blew out a kitchen cabinet, and we left a trail of pots and pans down the freeway.
Yeah, so the guy's driving behind you like this guy literally just blew a hole in his floor, and pots and pans are literally flying all over the road.
My man Pots and Pans.
Oh, yeah, my man Pots and Pans. I'm sure the people behind you wanted to crack you upside the head with a pan.
Well, it was dark, and we think they bounced off the road. We never got them back because it was way down the highway. And it was a busy freeway. So the bottom line, make sure you're checking for proper inflation for the tires, and then have a spare. That's really important. You want to make sure you grease your hubs. Right?
Oh, that's the biggest problem that I see with trailer boats.
It's really easy to do. If you have a grease gun, give it a couple squirts.
Make sure you check them. And I'll tell you what, there's never a bad thing that when you're rolling down the road, if you're stopping for fuel, take 2 seconds, walk to the back of the trailer.
Put your hand on the hub.
Put your hand on the hub.
Absolutely.
If your skin is no longer there, don't go any further.
If you've got excessive heat, you've got at least a grease problem or a bearing problem, and you got to be careful because you'll pop the whole hub off.
Well, what happens is you'll smoke the bearings, and the tire will go.
Oh yeah, the whole wheel.
Right, the entire wheel is going to fly off that trailer, and it's going to fly down the road right past you, or take somebody out in the process.
So you want to make sure that you cross your safety chains, right? You want to make sure your hitch is properly attached to the truck. You want to make sure your ball is tight and the clasp is down on the trailer hitch. But after you get that all done, if you're new to this, I recommend doing a little practicing before you get to the ramp, because the ramp
I've had the greatest laughs
place to be.
I'll tell you what, when I was at the Chamonix State Marina in Croydon, I'd grab a bag of popcorn, a cocktail, and a lawn chair.
I tell you what,
and I've seen some interesting stuff.
So, and so I've had an opportunity. I fished some state federation bass tournaments, and you want to talk about a group of people who know how to load and unload boats.
Yeah,
hundreds in an hour. I mean, the line is constant.
Yeah,
and so they don't have tolerance for somebody who doesn't know what they're doing.
No, I mean they want to get in or they want to get out
right before you get into that environment. And so, again, practice in the parking lot if you're brand new to this. You want to stage your boat. So when you pull up to the facility where there's a ramp, pull off to the side or up in the parking lot. That's where you attach your fenders. That's where you attach your lines. That's where you take your fishing gear and your coolers and your all the gear outside of the tow vehicle and put it in the boat. You don't do that when you get to the ramp, because you got to be ready to go.
Right, when you're getting ready to back your truck and trailer boat down the ramp, you better be ready to go.
The only thing that's not in the boat at that time
is you.
That's exactly right.
Unless you're lucky enough where your wife is capable, your boyfriend is capable of getting you down the ramp safely. You're in the boat. Okay. They unclip the actual strap to your eye hook on the front of the bow, and you're able
and let
in.
You go. Yeah.
My friend Donnie, I'll tell you what, she was awesome. And I guarantee you, I want her to listen to this. All my friends, when I was trailering, I had a Cruisers Incorporated, which is now Cruiser Yachts. Okay. I had a 24-footer, and I'll tell you what, she was the only one I could get my boat in and out of the water with just me and my friend Donnie.
She was driving a truck.
Okay. No, I would back myself down.
Okay.
She would go ahead and hop out. She would hop right on the tongue of the trailer, go ahead and unhook. Nice. Or vice versa. Sure. That if I was pulling physically right up to the trailer, okay, she would be right there, go ahead, hook the strap to the eye hook, crank that bad boy right on top of it. And all the rollers on my trailer were absolute junk. I had no money. I just got started, but you do what you got to do. I used to melt screwdrivers on solenoids trying to get the outdrive to come up because it was a Series 800 stringer OMC outdrive. You should have seen it. There were a pile of them.
I want to be clear. We don't recommend that.
No, but I'll tell you what, you do what you got to do when you got to get an outdrive up and you got a line of people that are ready to, kill you because you're taking too long.
So there's a couple other things, right? So you've got all your gear. You want to make sure you have your key to the boat.
Absolutely.
In the boat,
right?
And want to make sure you have the plug in.
Absolutely.
If it's a trailer boat, you're probably pulling the plug when it's not in the water, so put the plug in. And the other thing is, make sure that you undo the transom straps.
Yes, because
before you back it into the water.
Right, because it is mandatory not only to have your strap that's connected, that you're on your winch to go ahead and pull you up, but you should have, and it's a law, that you have a double, a set of straps that go from your trailer to the hooks on the back side of the transom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, like if you were going to tow a skier or a tuber.
Absolutely. So, and I from fishing these bass tournaments, and I did have a bass boat. I got pretty good at backing up and launching my boat and pulling it out of the water. And one of the tricks I learned, so for you folks who are just starting out and practicing, you put your hand on the bottom of the steering wheel, one hand, okay, on the bottom. And so if you move to the left, the boat's going to go to the left. If you move to the right, the boat's going to go to the right. If your hand is at 6 o'clock on the steering wheel.
Gotcha.
And so it gives you, an idea of, okay, well, I'm going to put my hand here. I need the boat to go that way. Okay, I'm going to go left. I'm going to put my hand left, right? It kind of helps your brain to get used to the way you have to turn the wheels to make the hitch and the wheels of the trailer go where you want. Just a thought.
I'll tell you what,
it works.
Jackknifing a trailer, very easy to do. When I first started, I've been a couple of tongues on trailers doing that. Jackknifing is never a fun situation.
So now that you've practiced and you've done everything, you've staged, you've put your boat in the water, all right, there's also a couple things you need to do when you get back to the ramp. Okay, it's kind of the opposite. You want to get out of the water and out of the way as soon as possible because there's a good chance there's people that are waiting on the ramp to put a boat in, more boats bobbing out there to get in, to pull out. Get your boat up on the trailer and get out of there as soon as you can, and then do your transom straps, and then unload the boat.
You're pulling the boat out of the water.
That's right.
And make sure that you actually have the strap from the winch hooked onto the eye cleat. Yeah. Make sure it's safely, and make sure that your winch is not in the free flow position. Make sure that the winch lock is on so you don't pull up and the boat slides off of the trailer, which I've seen that done plenty of times. Greatest boat trailer fouls I've ever seen. Guy pulls right up the ramp, boat falls off the trailer.
So I love you, but I gotta call you.
You're calling an audible.
I'm calling you.
Oh,
because it's a wench, not a winch.
Well, it all depends on how pissed off I am that day. Okay, tomato. What do you want me to tell you?
It's pirates and wenches. We need a winch.
Oh, excuse me, everybody. Winch. Oh, what are we talking? Like my cousin Vinny. The two youths. Excuse me, Your Honor. The two youths. Okay, what do you want me to tell you? I'm going to tell you.
Because you're my man, pots and pans.
I'm going to give you a pot upside the noggin in about 3. Oh, my God. I'm going to start the two youths.
Okay, that's funny. Okay. All right, so anyway, you get back to the ramp, move your boat out of the way, and then unload it in the staging area and get underway. And the other thing is, I want to point this out. You don't want to put a lot of, if you've got gear, coolers and fishing and all this stuff, you put it in the truck. You put it in the trailer, in the vehicle that's pulling the trailer. Don't leave all that weight in the trailer.
No, because if the boat is loaded with all types of gear and equipment and coolers and ice,
put the weight in the vehicle.
Right, the weight's not going to be evenly distributed throughout the course of the boat, which means that the trailer is going to be all over the place and it's not going to trailer well or safely because it's completely uneven with, when it comes to weight distribution.
Well, then somebody's going to be a wench and get in your face.
Hey, this the two youths.
All right, we got one other topic.
You Momo.
we got one other topic. We want to briefly talk about the true cost of boat ownership, and so we'll touch on a couple things. And so
all right, hold on a second there. You're killing me, Small. So
why am I killing you?
I'm not exactly sure, but I'm cutting you off anyway because I just have, I have the moment. I'll tell you what. There's a lot of boaters that are coming into the industry. It's fantastic.
It is.
But I had a conversation with a very incredible professional in Kent Island, and this gentleman, we had a really good conversation, and we were going to solicit all docked up to his company,
right.
And he loved the company. And it was incredible, some of the topics that he were bringing up, that there's a lot of boaters that are out there that are either wanting to become boaters or they have purchased a boat. But the whole point of this topic tonight is, do you truly understand the cost of ownership of a boat the proper way? Okay? Because everyone goes to a marina or a marine, whether it's a full-fledged marina or boat dealer that's on land, brick and mortar, whatever the case may be. They look at a boat, they absolutely love it. And new boat sales, you can't find new equipment.
You're right.
There's a shortage of inventory.
Shortage in the marketplace. Yeah.
They go out, they buy a boat, and the boat dealer says, you know what? You can afford this boat. We'll give it to you for 4.5%, and your payment's $550 a month. And that's all that they hear. Okay? I have always had the greatest thought, like the greatest tip in my head. Whatever your boat payment is, plus the cost of your insurance, double it.
That's exactly right.
And that is the ownership cost of your boat without a drop of gas and without a drop of actual mechanical failure, breakdown, mechanic bills.
You're absolutely right. If your boat payment is $500 plus insurance, double it. And that's every month.
That's every month.
And that's every month on an average right through the winter.
Well, now let's explain this a little bit more. I want everybody to understand this, okay? Your average slip. So you purchase yourself a brand new, I don't care, 30-foot center console. It costs you $750 at the end of each month. Your insurance through Boat US is costing you $150 a month, okay? You have those two costs altogether. You have $900 in expenses a month. Right. Then you have your summer storage slip fee, which on the average, if you were at any realistically decent marina for a 30-foot boat, you're going to be at $1,800 up to $5,500, depending on where you are.
Right, and some people will, if they have the space on their property, may not have that expense because they'll have a trailer and they won't.
If they're trailering their boat, it's all got to be considered. But once I'm saying, a person that purchases a boat that is going to keep it in a slip, okay, you have your summer slip fees on top of the fact that your summer slip fees have an electric cost on top of it. So a lot of marinas, how many... you have a single 30 amp plug on the side of a receptacle on the side of your boat. You require a single or a double 30 or a 50 amp. Mm-hmm. You could have $150 to $300 charge for your electric fee for the course of the season.
That's right.
Okay. And then you have your winter storage. So then you have your winter dry stores that, whether the marina is pulling you out, putting you on your trailer, using the travel lift, hauling and blocking. Okay. But I always found that my boat payment, okay, was $581 a month. At $581, I had a $100 insurance bill at the end of the month. That was $681 when it came to the cost of ownership just for the boat and insurance. By the time I was done paying for summer, winter storage, your winterization, your shrink wrapping, your bottom painting, your zincs and anoids and
fluids that need to be changed.
Your outdrive fluids.
Any maintenance that has to be taken care of.
Correct. Whether you're putting, zincs on shafts, whether you have hockey puck zincs, whether you
might need your props tuned.
Right. Or painting your outdrive. Yeah. Take your boat payment plus your insurance, times it by 2.
And that's where you are on an average.
On an average, give or take a few dollars, and that's without a drop of fuel going into your boat. And I don't think a lot of people they get so amped up and so excited to get into the boating industry, but they don't really know what all the costs are.
It's a good point, because they need to be able to maintain its safety and its value by taking care of it too.
Well, between, you're getting your boat ready in the beginning of the season. You're going to pay a professional to detail the boat. Your boat's got to be bottom painted. Then it's put in the water. Think about all these costs. But I tell people this all the time. Oh, we're looking at a brand spanking new boat, and my husband and I really crunched the numbers, and I believe we can afford it. It's going to cost us about $750 a month. And I said, really? I said, that's your payment and your insurance, $750 a month. And I said, double it.
Yep.
And they looked at me like I had three heads, and I'm like, you are not accounting for all the outstanding costs that are going to, and I'm telling you, it works out to a science almost every time.
It does.
It truly does. It literally is double, minus, or plus a couple of bucks.
So before we close, let's talk about insurance specifically, because insurance, now, if you have a lien or a mortgage, you could have a boat loan or a mortgage on a boat. That financer is going to require insurance, right, to protect their portion of the investment. But in the state of Maryland, boat insurance is not necessarily required. However, it is highly recommended.
Well, here's the thing. In the state of Maryland, there is no law or regulation or other rule that requires you to purchase insurance for your boat or your personal watercraft. But it is still a good idea to purchase an insurance policy to protect you and your investment.
Absolutely.
Purchasing a personal watercraft insurance policy will not prevent a claim from arising. And guess what, guys?
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody tells you. By the way, any marina that you go and you get yourself a slip for the summer, that marina is going to require that you have, A, you have boat insurance, and B, that a lot of marinas now are requiring that the marina is the listed insured on the policy.
Wow.
So whether it's a law or not, if you own a boat, that boat better be insured.
Yeah.
Okay. And make sure you read through the fine print when it comes to your coverages.
Well,
and that's going to be another topic we're going to get into, because I'm going to have a guest come on board.
Well, that's a good idea.
Well, here's the thing.
We're not experts in this, and we'd really like to hear from someone.
But I'll tell you what, this is the beautiful thing. With all docked up, with all the new providers that are signing up on the platform every single day, me and Bonnie are working the Kent Island area right now. We have so many incredible professionals that see all docked up and go, absolutely, I want to be part of all.
That's
They
right.
want to be part of the all docked up community. And I literally just signed on an incredible woman who does all the boat financing and connects them with insurance. So we're going to have professionals.
We need her on. Yeah.
Well, we're going to start. Right. We're going to start having the professionals come on that masters in their field. But guys, you buy a boat, you get a very good insurance policy. And on top of that, there's a second policy that you have to get if you really want to be safe.
I know where you're going.
Now, of course you do. Boat US towing insurance. Whether you have towboat, you need a towboat insurance coverage through either Boat US.
It's Boat US and it's
Seacock.
Seacock.
I'm sorry. I had a complete brain fart there, guys. I'm sorry. But that is mandatory. You can go to Boat US and get an ultimate gold for like under $200 a year. Sometimes they have specials between $159, $199.
Well,
you get it.
But just be careful of the word mandatory. That's our opinion.
I'm sorry, but here's the thing. I use the word mandatory because I say this much. I boat on the Chesapeake Bay. And if you're coming on the C&D Canal and you break down on the C&D Canal, which is a commercial waterway, you need a tow and you need help very quickly. So I shouldn't say the word mandatory because it's not mandatory. But guys,
highly recommend.
Right. If somebody told you that the bridge is out, you're not going to drive down the road to get to it. I'm sorry. Let's really look at it for what it is. So make sure that you get insurance. And like I said, if you go into a slip at any marina, they're going to require it. And it's an inexpensive peace of mind because you want to protect your investment, your personal watercrafts, whatever you have. Well, I'll tell you what, Buzzy, we're at 34 minutes. And, I'll tell you what, I'm ready for a cocktail.
No way.
Well, I'm ready for a second cocktail.
Okay.
I'm a little sunburnt and burnt. So I'll tell you what, I hope everyone enjoyed tonight's podcast. And, Paulie's standing by on 6'8".
Captain Buzz, standing by on 6-8. Thanks all.
Guys, have a great night.